And anyway.
Well, give him the medal, why don't you?
Bill Maher. Anyway, so... But I want to get to the latest crazy thing that they're doing now, Kamala Harris, is that, you know, they can't run on anything that they've done for anybody, right? Because the Democrats, remember when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ran for president against Donald Trump, they promised us a public option. And what is the public option? The public option is not Medicare for all, but it gives you the ability to buy into Medicare for all instead of buying from Blue Cross, who's just going to deny you when you're at your worst, right? So you could buy into Medicare, and then enough people would buy into Medicare, and pretty soon it would become Medicare for all, because nobody's going to buy from fucking Blue Cross if they can buy into Medicare. And so that's why they won't let you do that. So they ran on Medicare for all, they ran on the minimum wage, and after they got elected, they never talked about either of those two things ever again. It never got brought up by AOC or the Squad or even Bernie Sanders, cuck to power that he is, has never brought up any of that shit. And so all they have left to run on is that Donald Trump is some kind of an existential threat. Even though everybody loved him for 50 fucking years in the establishment, he was on every late night talk show, on the cover of every magazine. He got his balls washed on The View. Stephen Colbert said thank you for running. He loved him. Everybody loved him everywhere. And they gave him his own network television show for 10 years. That Hollywood gave him Emmy nominations. Oprah said she hoped he ran for president and that she would run with him. So all they have left now is to call him Hitler, or say, now the latest thing this week is that they're saying that his generals said that, well, here, I'll play it for you. This is what they're saying.
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had.
Really? He wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had? Because I don't know if you know, you mean he wanted generals that were constantly plotting to try to blow him up? Because that's what Hitler had. So here we go, little feedback. Hold on, here we go.
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him.
Well, it's weird that he wants a military that's loyal to him, because I don't know if you know how the Constitution works, because the military is supposed to be loyal to the President of the United States. It's called civil control of the military. That's what it's called, civilian control. And that's why we don't have a military control of the military. We have civilian control of the military, and they're supposed to listen to him. And it turns out, by the way, this whole story came from a noted liar, Jeffrey Goldberg. Remember, he said, this lie, Trump said Americans who died in war are losers and suckers. Jeffrey Goldberg in The Atlantic, completely made up. That was already debunked. And who wrote this one? I need the kind of generals that Hitler had. Jeffrey Goldberg. It's, again, totally fucking made up. And it's by the same piece of shit who was, by the way, an IDF soldier. That's who Jeffrey Goldberg
was?
Yeah, you don't know that?
No.
I can't believe a Goldberg's an IDF soldier. That's crazy.
No, I wouldn't, because it's a very, like, Brooklyn sounding, like, kind of pussy name. It's not like an Israeli tough guy name. It's not.
So,
it's not like a Netanyahu.
Great actor. What happened to him?
all I'm saying is I don't know if Trump admires Hitler's generals, but I have been to Dollar General, and I know they're lying because everything there is not a dollar. To make people hate him. Why do you have to make it up? Which this is made up, and it was made up by Jeffrey Goldberg. By the way, The Atlantic is owned by, who's it owned by?
Widow Jobs.
It's Steve Jobs' ex-wife.
Best friend of Ghislaine Maxwell.
Best friend of Ghislaine Maxwell.
I mean, these people aren't friends with anyone, but they were close.
That's right. So just remember, this is what NBC News had to say. A network of just keep in mind that we have a civilian control of the military for a reason. So, a network of public interest groups and lawmakers nervous about former President Trump's potential return to power is quietly devising plans to foil any effort on his part to pressure the U.S. military to carry out his political agenda, the agenda that people fucking voted for. Guess who's unconstitutional? NBC and the goddamn fucking public. Anyway, I sound like Joe Biden. I get so upset. Fucking garbage! Garbage people!
You see General Miley next to him?
Yeah,
General Miley's the one who's like, I'd like to get to the bottom of male rage.
I'm going to show you General Miley in a second. I have a video of General. But anyway, by the way, when they say public interest group, you know that it's never in the public interest, right? Right? That it's okay. So I just want to remind you of this. So when Trump was president, remember that time when Trump wanted to pull out of Syria? You know, like he ran on being an anti-interventionist and he wanted to pull the troops out of Syria, and his own generals lied to him about the number of troops stationed in Syria so that would make Trump think that a withdrawal was happening. Now, that's not just a tweet. I'm going to show you know who else says that? This is from Defense One. The top Syrian envoy admitted that they lied to Trump about how many troops. That's unconstitutional. That's subverting democracy. That's called fucking treason, ladies and gentlemen. That's treason, not what Donald Trump is asking his generals to do.
Make treason a capital punishment again. Seriously, we got to do that, dude.
Mattis, remember, so Mattis, he resigned after a clash with Trump over troop withdrawals from Syria. And so Trump wanted to withdraw the troops. Mattis didn't want to. They lied to Trump about how many troops Trump found out, and then he made him resign. So he had to quit over this. So the exact opposite of what the media is telling you happened. How can you read this and not go, wait a minute, why would you be telling the military not to follow the orders of the civilian commander-in-chief? Why isn't that? So they don't anyway. So
are we Pakistan now?
No shit, right? That's what it feels
We're not even
like.
Brazil.
That's what it feels like. So here I want to show you this just to remind people. This they're having these press conferences, and this guy here he's coming in from Syria. And he's taking questions from the media at the State Department briefing. Watch this. Here we go.
How many U.S. troops are there in Iraq and Syria right now?
Now, the official number was 500. That's what they were saying. That's what they were telling Trump and the media, how many troops they had in Syria. They said, oh, just 500, just enough to secure the oil. But the real number was somewhere around 4,000 or 5,000. And so this guy slips up and he actually tells the truth. That's called a gaffe in Washington, when you accidentally tell the truth. So watch what happens. He asks him, how many troops
how many U.S. troops are there in Iraq and Syria right now?
So we have approximately 55,000 Syrian, or 5,000. I'm sorry. I think it's a little over 4,000 U.S. troops in Syria right now that are supporting efforts against Daesh and supporting the SDF.
So now the reporter actually knows the actual number. He's going to say it back to him. Watch this.
So you have 4,000 U.S. troops in Syria, because I thought that previously the number was 1,000. This would be 4 times, well, it was actually 500, but you're saying 4,000 U.S. troops are currently in Syria?
I'm sorry, I misspoke there. There are approximately 500 troops in Syria.
Now, we all laughed in this room because we see how transparently full of shit that army guy is. But guess who else laughed? What?
Approximately 500 troops in Syria.
The whole press corps laughed right in that guy's fucking face.
Now say your own names. That's how I get out of it. That's how I kill that laugh.
In the Army, you can be all you can be, but apparently you can't be a good liar in front of a room full of press people. That's the few, the proud, but not very proud of our math skills, apparently.
Yeah.
You know, he was like a teenager. You know, how many beers did he have? 55,005, 5, that 4.
I love his delivery. He's the Stephen Wright of the Army.
Yeah. If people know who Stephen Wright is, that's very funny. So nobody cares about the media, about the military lying to the commander-in-chief, the civilian commander-in-chief of the military. Nobody lies about that. Nobody cares that they're lying. So basically, the Constitution has become a phone booth, right? We all have fond memories of it, but nobody really uses it anymore.
Some people use it.
What's that?
You know you're in a bad section of town when you see a payphone. That's
And nobody cares about this. Nobody cared that they all laughed at his face. Nobody has any umbrage left to give because, Tony Hinchcliffe started World War III with Puerto Rico.
Yeah. After Steve Renazizi caused the war in Iraq. Wait, I just noticed this before. He has an earpiece. Do you ever have one of those things in your ear where they tell you what to say through
Yes,
it?
yeah.
It's hard.
It's not easy.
And I think that's why he sounds like Forrest Gump got promoted to lieutenant. Because if you didn't know how to use it, I know from experience on shows, it's not so easy to do. He looks exactly like a guy being told a different number.
That's right.
I think that's what that is.
And I think, when you're lying to the public, it's very important to try to blend in with the background.
constant camo.
And so Michael Schellenberger actually caught on to this, and he says, the media and Kamala Harris say they have evidence that Donald Trump admires Hitler and hates Latinos. They really don't, and the fact that they've made Hitler their closing argument isn't just desperate and shameful, but it's proof that the Democrats are now a totalitarian party. What do you mean that they're a totalitarian party? Well, he tells you right here, he goes, Democrats are the party of mass censorship, the weaponization of the CIA, the FBI, and the Department of Homeland Security, and the politicization of everything. What does that sound like to you? To me, that sounds like a totalitarian fucking party, and they're encouraging a police state, which is what we actually live in right now.
Fascism.
Fascism.
Well, you know what?
That's the irony, is that whatever they accuse Trump of, they're actually guilty. It's exactly what a dictator does and a fascist does. So thank you, Michael Schellenberger, for actually having the stones to point that out.
And when Kamala Harris is elected president, she's going to censor this photo.
Yeah, wait, Jimmy, that photo, it looks like she could hear what you were just saying about her. You're right.
It was very interesting because, she gave an interview where she was like, we don't have any active troops there. And then there was this funny video where active troops were
Yes.
going, then where are we right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Better have Obama shame him.
Yeah.
So they have, I like every third thing he says is good, though. You got it? Every third thing.
It's a good hit rate. It's a good hit rate.
Not everything, but every third thing.
No, not everything.
So Dave Smith, friend of the show, libertarian Dave Smith, is on with the establishment toady and piece of it, Mehdi Hasan. Now, Mehdi Hasan, if you remember, he thought that if he lied about Russiagate and he lied about Syria and he lied about the Ukraine war and he lied about COVID, that would insulate him and earn him enough favor so he could tell a little bit of truth about Palestine, Israel. Well, he was wrong, and then they fired his ass. That's how stupid that Mehdi Hasan is. So now he doesn't have a job, and he ends up on panels debating fucking comedians, okay?
So, aren't you at least, you like how Destiny and Mehdi Hasan are putting Dave in a cuck sandwich?
Why Sarah Palin watches?
So here's Pierce Morgan, and Talk about shallow and disgusting. But here, so they're going to be arguing. So Mehdi Hassan's position here is that all the generals who are now coming out and saying, by the way, you don't become a general because you're good at war. That's like saying you become vice president because you're a political genius, okay? You become a general because it's political, because the war machine tells the senators and whoever that's how this all works, okay? The war machine runs everything, and nobody becomes a general unless they're willing to serve the war machine. And there's only a handful of people who buck that system. Colonel Wilkinson, who was the chief of staff to Colin Powell. I just met him this past weekend, and he said in the green room backstage, like, hey, what are you guys doing here at a peace rally for Jose Vega? And he told my friend Russell Dobular, he's like, yeah, we saw what the game was, and we weren't willing to play it. The game was you just go along and you make a lot of money on a speaking circuit, and you get paid millions and millions of dollars. You end up on a board of a weapons manufacturer because you're an ex-general, and that's how this game works. But there's only a few people, a handful, and Wilkinson is one of them, and he didn't play that game, so he ends up on a panel with Jimmy DORE. That's how that happened. But so now, here is Mehdi Hassan his argument is going to be that we should trust all these pieces of shit who are now saying Donald Trump is like Hitler, and let's just let Dave make the case. Here we go.
But am I really supposed to just these generals are all beyond lying? I mean, Mattis, as you know, right? Mattis resigned because Trump actually tried to pull out of Syria, which he had campaigned on.
But he didn't
and run on.
Trump.
No, by the way,
I agree with you.
No, he did.
No, he said he doesn't respect the Constitution. They all consistently
No,
say
I'm
the
not
same
saying, okay,
thing.
fine. But, what does that even mean to them? They don't respect the Constitution. We were in Syria unconstitutionally.
There you go.
Bang.
The Democrats are upset that this unconstitutional mission that Donald Trump isn't respecting the unconstitutional. What are they talking about? That's a perfect point, right in Mehdi Hassan's establishment shilling fucking face. And
But Jimmy, I've got a British accent. You're supposed to be intimidated and scared of every word out of my mouth. It's genetic at this point. I'm supposed to terrify you because my education was better. It doesn't mean I'm right. It just means I'm British.
Okay, here we go. So there's more to this. Watch this.
Do you believe all the generals are just attacking? Forget the generals.
Yeah, first of all, yes, I believe all the generals who are saying that shit are all full of shit and lying.
What is he talking about?
All the generals. So here we go.
It's almost like
Do you believe all?
It's almost like when you're telling me all the intelligence people are lying about Hunter Biden's laptop. Is that what you're telling me? All of them are lying? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Do you believe all the generals are just attacking? Forget the generals. Go through everyone. His press secretary, his vice president. We can go through the list. NBC went to 44 cabinet officials.
I do not.
And said, "Are you voting for Trump?"
Yes. Okay.
4.
Okay.
said
So
yes.
let me ask you a question. I believe that I do not trust Donald Trump. I think he's not an honest person. He's a self-promoter who will say whatever makes him look good.
Like every politician that's ever been in my lifetime. Okay, good point. Here we go.
I believe that when Donald Trump said all of this rhetoric about drain the swamp in 2016, when he said we're not going to fight these wars anymore, when he, maybe somewhat unwittingly, called out Obama and John Brennan for the literal treason that they committed in Syria with a capital T, arming and funding the enemy in wartime. Okay, when he said Obama created ISIS, things like that, I think he made a lot of enemies in Washington, D.C. And the idea that you could get 5 or 10 of them to come together and all say something bad about him,
I'm not. Dozens.
Okay, fine, dozens.
Dave,
I don't believe them
okay,
either.
Dave, you're a smart guy. Let me just put it to you, just very simply. If I'm Mike Pence, am I not voting for Donald Trump because my family almost got killed or because Trump was in Syria? I'm going to take the simple answer that he's not supporting Trump because he saw that Trump did on January 6th. That's my point.
Okay,
you can go down the list. I could be here all day telling you about former
so-
Trump officials who have turned on him. They can't all be lying.
Yes, they can. Yes, in fact, they are all lying. Yes. You know, the same people who, you mean all the people who lied about Vietnam through 4 different presidents, who lied about Iraq twice, who lied about Afghanistan for 20 years, Syria, Libya, Yemen, Somalia, they can't also be lying now.
We're due for a win, Jimmy.
So Dave, he gets it. Watch this.
They can't. I mean, they can't. By definition, they could.
All of them
No,
are
I'm not
lying and
saying
Trump's
they-
telling the truth.
It's not
It sounds
a law.
insane.
It's
You sound
not.
insane.
Well, no, I don't. It's not a law of logic that they couldn't all be lying. Yes, you could get a bunch of people in deep.
Yes, you get a bunch of people in D.C. to lie about fucking anything, just like they're lying right now about the Ukraine war, like they're lying about Russiagate and lawfare. There isn't on COVID. They had everybody in the world lying about COVID. It was one big lie. Go ahead. Anybody want to say?
When did they tell the truth?
When? Yeah.
What?
Basically,
How is he even? They can't all be like, you lost your job because they're all lying. You
That's
idiot.
right.
Holy shit. Dave did a great job. I really wanted him to make Mehdi talk in his jihad voice again. His acoustic stuff.
and aside from that, the average brick has no idea which building it's holding up. Yeah. It just shows up every day, right where it's supposed
Yeah, that's
to be. It doesn't know.
compartmentalization. You don't have to.
Deep, dude. That was deep.
Yeah.
I thought I'd do the bricklaying thing.
That was nice. I appreciate it.
How's a guy from the pyramid part of the world not know that?
So,
I mean, how could you be so against what Israel's doing in Gaza, which is the right side to be, and not think that the exact same people working with those people doing in Gaza are not doing it here and doing it in Syria and doing it in Afghanistan, everywhere? It's unbelievable, the mental gymnastics that people
I can answer
doing.
that for you, Tripoli.
Okay.
You have to read Mehdi Hassan's book, How to Win Any Argument.